Dear Chief of Oxford University Press, dear Chief of Rekta, and distinguished speakers, esteemed writers, media, and loving audience. We are gathered here today to honor a man who has dedicated his entire life to the Urdu language and comparative literature and linguistics, my father, Gopi Chand Narang. So this is from a son's perspective. My father completed his PhD in 1959 when I was 2 years old, and he was teaching at St. Stephen's College when he left for Madison, Wisconsin in January 1963 as a visiting professor, and my mother and I followed him about half a year later. And at the time, there were no teaching books or materials for his Urdu students, so my father began to write a reader that his students could learn Urdu from. This led to his completing the book Urdu Readings in Literary Urdu Prose, which was immediately published by the Wisconsin University Press and welcomed by everyone. And this was also the book that I learned to speak the Urdu language from. So it has a special memory for me, so I wanted to share it with all of you. Even after 50 years, this book has taught at many of the foreign universities from the United States to University of London to Turkey and Japan. And from there, he was invited to be a full professor by Jamia Millia Islamia University to chair the department. And at that time, Dad was at the apex of his career. As long as I have known my father, he has had a habit of working late hours on his writings, and he's really a dedicated person, and that's rubbed off on myself and my brother, and we are very proud of him. His trailblazing books started appearing one after another, drawing the admiration of the senior literary world. Around that time, at a young age, he was given his first literary award, the Ghalib Prize from UP, and within a span of a decade, he had produced another 20 books. I know because he's always writing when he comes to visit me. He was frequently traveling between Delhi and USA while making stopovers in Europe and England and working at the British Museum and India Office Libraries. And this was the time that he discovered Amir Khushbu, which he published both in Hindi and Urdu. And later joined back to his alma mater, Delhi University, and completed the last phase of his formal teaching career. Then at age 81, Dad was invited by University of Hyderabad to be the distinguished chair professor, and I know personally it was there that this momentous book on Ghalib was completed after 17 years and many interruptions. Sometimes in Toronto when he was visiting me, and sometimes in New York and Charlotte when he was visiting my brother Tarun. It has gone through several prints in Urdu, and I'm happy that a very competent English translation has now been published by the prestigious Oxford University Press, and I give my compliments to the translator Surinder Gio and for all of those who have helped in this process for creating a wonderful translation of the book. Last year, the final touches were given during long nights in the sunny environment of Charlotte when Dad was visiting Tarun, and I had also visited Charlotte and visited my dad and Tarun there. My brother and Tarun and I have traveled from Charlotte and Toronto to attend this function to honor the launch of this book and to honor my father, who we love very much. And My wife Neha could not be here with me, but also sends her best wishes and congratulations for Dad. Along with our children, Divya, Avani, and my older two children, Rishi and Shafali, everyone wishes to join in honoring Dad. And Tarun and I are both proud of him and thank Oxford and Rekhta and all of you for being part of the celebration today. And thank you for having us.
Thank you. Dr. Tarun Narang, MBBS from University of Manipal and MD from Lincoln College, New York, is the younger son of Professor Narang. The leading therapeutic gastroenterologist, Dr. Tarun Narang, has traveled all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, USA, where he is now practicing and living with his family. I request him to come on stage and say a few words.
Thank you very much. That was absolutely beautiful, Arun. What does a younger brother now say after such beautiful words by the older brother? I must start that it indeed is a very interesting feeling for me, being a gastroenterologist, a science person, or some people may say the poop doctor, gastroenterologist, surrounded by you all professors, scholars, highly intellectual, literary experts, and amazing academicians. Again, I thank you for giving me just a few moments to share my views of my father from a personal perspective, just to add on to Arun Bhar's perspectives as well. Again, respected chief guest, chief of Rekhta, chief of Oxford, all speakers and all the lovely members of the audience here today. हैं और भी दुनिया में सुखनवर बहुत अच्छे, हैं और भी दुनिया में सुखनवर बहुत अच्छे, कहते हैं कि गालिब का है अंदाज़े बयां और. For most of you in the room, you hear the name Professor Gopi Chand Narang, and the vision that glimpses across your mind is that of complex literary theories. Author of many incredible books in multiple languages, articles, awards, Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, recipient of many other awards from all over the world, seminars, lectures, celebrated critic, scholar, professor emeritus, so on and so forth. But for me as a son, that name means a pillar of strength. It means a symbol of family, a symbol of solidarity. It means confidence. It means someone who taught me the meaning of respect, the meaning of culture, love, so on and so forth. During my childhood and even till now, Dad continues to teach me what it means to never give up on your dreams, what it means to go after your passion of your life and strive for the best and the very best. These are some of the lessons that we learned daily in our household growing up. As we know, Papa is a master of words, and it is incredible how evident this was when in the United States a few years ago, he met my teacher, my mentor in my field, who is also a renowned gastroenterologist. His name is Dr. Steve Deal. Steve said to me, Tarun, I realized that your dad is no ordinary man when I met him for the first time. I asked him why. What did he say to you, Steve? He goes, your dad told me, my son is a diamond. Cut him right, please. In the same sentence of less than 10 words, my son is a diamond, cut him right, please. My father had conveyed to my mentor his pride in me as his son, and also reinforced the critical role that my mentor will now be playing going forward in shaping and molding not only my career, but my remaining life as well to an extent. Sacrifice. Just a few more moments. Sacrifice is one of the values that I've learned from my father growing up. He gave up the luxury of living in the US when he was offered green card and immigration more than 50 years ago, because he said, my language lab is not in the US but in India. Over the years and even now, I've seen him sacrifice himself, sacrifice to an extent his health, money, time, much more, as he has devoted his entire life to Urdu language, to Urdu literature, to get to where he is today. We as a family have supported him 100% every step of the way, and no words can describe how proud we are of him. As they say, behind every successful man there is a sacrificing woman. I'd like again to use this opportunity to acknowledge the support of Tara Auntie and also of my mother, Mrs. Tarun Narang, through all these years, who has been by his side and worked all her life to support him and share not only his successes, but also his sorrows, his hardships. Thank you again for a round of applause for her. I learned from my father the meaning of humility, the meaning of simplicity, as I saw him travel across the continents over the years in the most simplest of clothes and the most basic and simplest of lifestyles. I learned from him the art and skill of communication, to be precise, to be accurate, to the point in conversations. As many of you are well aware, he is somebody who can have an in-depth conversation with anyone of any age about any topic, whatever may be. I learned from him the importance of organization, not only in physical elements of life, but at home, at work, in office, in thoughts, in writing, in communication. I learned from my dad the significance of timeliness and being punctual, and to be respectful to other people's time. And despite moving with family, he's always tried to be punctual and typically not go by the standard India time. The words, again, are not enough to describe how he has dedicated himself to many relationships that he has formed over the decades and bonds that he has made over the years with his students, with his juniors, with his seniors, with his colleagues, co-workers. He is a living example, from what I've seen, of what sacrifices are needed and how in relationships you just keep giving love, support, respect, help without necessarily expecting much in return. His commitment to his work, as you're well aware, again is beyond belief. The work that we are here to celebrate today has taken him more than a decade to complete. I recall him being in Charlotte, living in North Carolina with us, and also in New York before that, and me coming home after being on call at night at 2 a.m. And I would look at him and say, "Papa, go to sleep, get some rest. It's 2:30. I would see him completely immersed in his work, with absolutely no clue of time, soaked in his creative writing and interpretation of Mirza Ghalib. My children Shreya and Rohan wanted me to say they love you, Dada, and they are so proud of you, and they are extremely grateful for all the teachings and blessings that you have showered upon them. Also, my wife Mona sends her message for him, as she again could not be here, and I'll read her brief 2-line message. Although me, Shreya and Rohan could not be here on this big day physically, we want you to know how proud we are of you, and your grandchildren have some big shoes to fill. Your dedication to work, Papa, is not less than what meditation would be to others. May your gift of words continue to touch millions of people over centuries to come. I thank you all again in joining us as we celebrate hard work, dedication, commitment, compassion, love, success, as we celebrate Professor Gopi Chand Narang.
Gopi Chand Narang, an author of more than 80 scholarly books in Urdu, Hindi and English, is a professor emeritus at University of Delhi and Jamia Millia Islamia. He has been a visiting professor at the universities of Wisconsin, Minnesota and Oslo. He is a recipient of D.Litt from Aligarh Muslim University, Maulana Azad National Urdu University and the Central University of Hyderabad. Among the many awards he has received, the most notable are Padma Bhushan, Sahitya Academy Award and Padma Shri from India, the Sitara-e-Imtiaz and President's National Gold Medal from Pakistan. I request him to say a few words.